Today is a great day for us. It is the day the Lord has made as we look back on our journey and thank God for his blessings during the past 50 years. A journey filled with God's gifts and opportunities for growth. A journey with some outstanding landmarks during which we felt the presence of God in the Institute in a very special way. Allow me to share with you some of these landmarks which form part of our journey of faith. We were founded on the 19th of February, 1971, by the then Bishop of Monze, the late Right Reverend Bishop James Corboy. The decision to name us Sisters of the Holy Spirit was arrived at because we were founded shortly after the Second Vatican Council, a time in which the Church looked on the Holy Spirit and its work, and it was acknowledged in a very special way. Hence our charism, which urges us to be particularly aware of the gift and work of the Holy Spirit in our lives, to witness to his influence in a special way as we minister to those we are sent. Before the congregation was founded, Bishop Corboy consulted many priests and religious of the diocese. While the inspiration to begin the congregation was his, he realized he needed the support of the whole diocese. So he consulted men and women from different backgrounds. He asked religious sisters of various origins. He also asked the religious sisters of the Sacred Heart of Mary, RSHM, to be directly involved in the formation of the sisters. He requested one of them, Sister Catherine Dunn, may her soul rest in peace, to be the formation mistress. The first two girls to join the congregation were Romana Maum and Rosemary Mudala, who are celebrating with us. Rosemary and Romana, can you please stand up so that we see you? At the time they joined the congregation, we did not yet have a house, and the formation mistress was still being prepared for a new responsibility. Therefore, the two postrants spent time in other novitiates. They lived in the novitiate of the Sisters of St. Francis in Livingstone, and later with the Religious Sisters of Charity in Lusaka. In the meantime, Chikuni, Trinity House, in particular here where we are, was chosen as the place for our novitiate, and preparations began to get the place ready. One might ask why Chikuni was chosen as a place for our novitiate. Bishop Corboy believed in providing the new congregation with a sound formation. Therefore, he located the novitiate where it would be easy to access religious men and women to teach. Because of the numbers of Jesuits in Chikuni at the time and other religious within easy reach, such as Monze, he chose to set up the novitiate here. We are very grateful to Brother Patrick Michael Duff, SJ, for renovating the buildings into a home for us. On the 31st of January, 1971, Catherine Dunn, Romana Maum, and Rosemary Mudala arrived in Trinity House. The beginning of February 1972 saw two more girls, the late Christeta Laduku and I, Marcellina Hazele, arriving in Trinity House. We felt very happy to have a home to call our own and worked hard to make it into a beautiful home. Formation continued smoothly with the assistance of the religious and laity of the diocese. We felt part of and accepted by all the religious in the diocese. It didn't matter where we went, we felt at home. In 1973, Romana Maum and Rosemary Mudala made their first profession. Having professed sisters was a big step for us. By 1974, the congregation had 6 members, 2 more girls, Ivan Gatakwale and Christine Monze had joined. Pentecost of that year was very challenging, but faith-building for us. This was because Christeta Gaduku was killed in a car accident on the way back from Lusaka. While her death was very painful, it became a confirmation for us of God accepting and wanting us to exist and grow as a congregation. We had a member in heaven. For us, this meant that we are founded in heaven as well. The experience of her death strengthened our resolve to continue and see our congregation grow. It became a stepping stone in our faith. Another event, which is a landmark in our history, was the founding of our community in Chibuna. On the 4th of September, 1978, Rosemary, Christine, and I moved into a convent of our own. Before this, we had been living with the RSHM sisters. Living on our own for us meant that we were growing in maturity as a congregation. August 1984 saw us opening a house in Choma. This was a further step in our growth because now, not only were we going to live on our own, but moving to a new town in the diocese, teaching and nursing in government institutions. We were expanding to other places. In 1972, we took another step in our growth. Sister Anna Hakalova was appointed for mission mistress. We now were taking responsibility for our own initial formation. In 1994, we elected our own Superior General, Sister Christine Monze, a huge step as we were now responsible for our own governance, which before this was in the hands of the RSHM sisters. In 1995, we were requested by the late Right Reverend Bishop Paul Lungu to take over the running of Monze Mission Hospital. Trusting totally in the help of the Spirit, because we had only 3 nurses in the congregation at the time, we accepted the challenge, another moment of growth for us. Among the many lessons we learned here, it is to be of support to each other, even if we officially are not qualified in that ministry. We realized that because we had few nurses, the rest of us were being called to support the running of the hospital in whatever way we could. We are still running Monze Mission Hospital to today. Our gratitude goes to the late Right Reverend Bishop Lungu for trusting us and taking the risk of asking us to run the hospital. He could have opted to ask a more established congregation. We thank him for his faith in us. The bringing back of our founder's body was yet another landmark for us. He died in Ireland on the 24th of November, 2004, and we brought his body back on the 18th of August, 2005. After Bishop Corboy went to Ireland, and it became clear that he would not return because of ill health, Bishop Lungu used to say to us, "When Corboy dies, I'll bring his body back because it will be cheaper than sending the whole congregation to his funeral in Ireland. I think he realized at that time how important it was for us to have him buried here. We are grateful to Bishop Emilio Patriarca, Bishop Emeritus of Monze Diocese, for accepting to have Bishop Corboy's body brought back to the diocese. Our gratitude to the Jesuits in Zambia, Ireland, and Rome for their expertise, financial help, and influence, which made it possible for us to successfully bring back Corboy for a burial here. We thank Professor Victor Mkonka, whose expertise, advice, and influence we relied on to get through the required logistics here in Zambia. What does it mean to have our founder buried here? This is what some of our sisters had to say about it. The funeral was only over when he brought his body back. Before that, there was a vacuum. We wanted him among us, to have his grave to inspire us when we visit. Our founder became real. He was no longer distant, only known by those who met him alive. Buried and present among us, we met him in death. Up to this point, we had not yet been recognized by Rome as an institute. We were a pious union. We looked forward to the day when we would be recognized. The day came on the 18th of May, 2015, when we received the decree of erection. Our constitutions were accepted and we were elevated to the status of a religious congregation of diocesan right. We thank in a very special way Bishop Emeritus Emilio John Damilimo Patriarca. He supported us and worked tirelessly for our recognition. I recall him telling me that he wanted to get us recognized before his retirement. He looked on this as one of the important tasks he had to fulfill before he left the diocese. Twalumba, kwatandabala, omunene. As we move on into the future, beyond the 50 years mark, we are confident that the God who has been with us in the past, the God of our history, will be there for us to challenge and strengthen us with his Spirit. Thank you.